Guys, all the above. Steve Serby, New York Post. How does Coach Hurley impress upon you guys how does he get rid of complacency? What does he say and what does he do?
Let's start with Cam, then we'll go to Alex, then Tristan.
Yeah, I would say it's a lot through film study and stuff. He talks a lot about, holding ourselves to a standard and, playing a full 40 minutes. And we're never perfect in a basketball game. There's always ways to get better. So I think just going through all those little things that we can do to be at our best is a way to fight that.
Yeah, what Cam said, I think Coach Hurley always holds us to the UConn standard that's established here throughout the years, and that it's important for us to get better every day. Every practice we got to get better, and every game we got to get better. So if we're not living up to expectation that he holds us to, then he'll let us know. So, but really just continuing getting better every day is what's important for him.
Yeah, like they said, just getting better and holding us to a standard. Everybody's trying to win, so we haven't really done much yet. The ultimate goal of this tournament is to win the whole thing. And, the Big East, and it was cool and all, but can't get complacent and stop there. We're trying to go for historic things. So if we're complacent, that's not going to help us achieve what we want to achieve.
Come up here on this side of the room on the aisle, row 2.
David Gold, Inside on You. Cam, you squared off with Northwestern twice last year. What have you seen from the Cats when you play them and now on tape, and how much have you tried to bring what you learned to your team for this game tomorrow?
Yeah, I think obviously a different team from last year, but they bring back a lot of the big pieces that they had. I think they're a physical team. They take pride in their defense and how hard they play. So obviously we'll have to bring our A game, and we'll be ready.
We'll come over here on the other side of the room in row 1.
Joe Ruda, Hartford Current. Alex, what was last night like for you guys in terms of preparation? What did you do sort of when you went back to the hotel and everything? And what are your first impressions on this Northwestern team?
Yeah, when we got back to the hotel, we just started doing recovery right away, and just recovered our bodies, rest, ate, and then it was straight into film. We started watching Northwestern film, and then we started watching film from the Stetson game and what we could have done better and what we did, right during that game. And then Northwestern, Cam said, they're a really good team. Their guards are unbelievable. Just their surrounding pieces are unbelievable, and their defense is really good. So, we got to be ready to play because they have All-American point guard and Boo Buie, and then a Langboard who played really well last night too. So, they're a really good team.
Okay, we have Stefan and Donovan up here as well now. Locker room is open until 3 o'clock, I believe, but we will stay here for a little while if you have questions. We're staying on that side in row 2 at the end. Go ahead.
This is Gavin Keith from the London Day. Alex, this tournament run, how does it feel different from last year? Once you go through that experience of winning a national championship and you're going back into the tournament, how does it feel different?
Yeah, I think we know, the returner guys especially, we know what this tournament is and we know what's expected from this tournament. So we've been through the experience of the tournament run last year. We're just trying to, pass on our knowledge to the new guys this year. And, but more importantly, we're just trying to do this whole run again with new guys. And we know how it felt winning it last year. We just want to experience that again. So, but we know we just got to take it day by day and just stay with the process. And but it's always an exciting tournament. It's the best tournament in the country, and it's the best tournament all year. So we're just super excited about it.
We're going to come to this side of the room in the back. Just raise your hand so the guys can see. Go ahead.
Mike Fitzpatrick from AP. This question's for Donovan in particular because you grew up in Bristol. I know you guys are entirely focused on what you're doing, but Yale is having a nice run. Also, obviously, they had an exciting win in the Ivy League and had a big win yesterday. And just wondering if you followed Yale as well much growing up, and if you have any like a fun or anything interesting, folks back home who are who pull for both teams or have talked about the prospect of you. I'm not asking you to get ahead of yourself, but the prospect of you guys playing each other in the next round.
I was always a UConn fan growing up. I would watch Yale. Just growing up, they're a good program and stuff. But really, it's just growing up as a UConn fan and watching UConn, and it's cool to see another school from the area, do well.
We'll stay in the same section, one row up.
Jamal Murphy, Bill Roden on Sports. Tristan, you've been putting up numbers and playing really well for 2 years now. Even your coach says you still kind of fly under the radar. Why do you think you're a little underrated?
I mean, I guess the guys around me, I mean, it's not like I'm the only player on the team. Everybody else, we got two lottery picks and, 2 other NBA prospects on the team. So I'm not the only one on the team. The whole team is getting the recognition it deserves. We're the #1 team in the nation. And a lot of people, including ourselves, think we're the best team in the nation. That's really the important thing about, basketball is team success. So I'm not really worried about, what others think about myself in particular. As long as we go out there, play well and win games, that's really the important thing to me right now.
We'll come up on the same side on the aisle in row 2. Next 2 questions will be in row 2 here.
David Gold, inside you. Donovan, with Matt Nicholson out, Northwestern is down just to 2 big men. Has there been an emphasis in the game plan for tomorrow to run the offense through you and try to get those big men in foul trouble and really just take advantage of the size advantage throughout this game?
I mean, obviously, like you said, their biggest hurt. So obviously I'm going to do my best to try to dominate my opponent, dominate my matchup, and really just haven't talked about. We really didn't talk about running the offense through me. We're just gonna play our game like we usually do, run our offense like we do. Coach is gonna put us in the right and best positions to succeed at a high level, and we're just to let the game flow. But I know going into this game, my team needs me to dominate my matchup.
Stay in row 2. Go ahead.
Bradley Locker inside, and you guys have gone 38-3 in your last 41 games. Just kind of what does that number mean to you, that only 3 losses of 41, and what do you think has kind of been the key to avoiding upsets, especially in a tournament like this?
Is this for anyone specific or the group?
General.
We'll start with, why don't we do the guys that have been a part of most of it? Alex, then Tristan, then Donovan.
Yeah, I think it's been an impressive record for us so far, and we're proud of the record going 33-3 right now, but we have so much more, and that we've learned a lot throughout those 3 losses, and those losses really helped shape us into the team we are today, and just looking back on those experiences have really helped us become a better team. So really, we wouldn't be where we are without those losses, and we know what to do if we want to avoid those losses.
Tristan?
Yeah, I agree. Every game, even wins and losses, we learn something new about ourselves, and we know what to build on and what to do to get more wins. So, those wins really helped us, and those losses really helped us, and we're just, trying to improve on that record and take it a little farther.
And Donovan?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we learned a lot throughout, this streak. Different type of games to play, different type of atmospheres, but it's really just sticking to the script, focus on the next game. Don't get too far ahead of yourselves. Don't be complacent where you're at, and just keep focusing on, your next opponent.
We'll go to the other side of the room, end of row 2. Just raise your hand so the guys know. Go ahead.
This is for Steph, Gavin Key from the London Day. You've guarded some really tough guards this year, and Northwestern obviously has a tough guard. What's been your mindset as far as defensively this season?
Just really buying into what the coach asked me to do, just knowing what my abilities are and knowing that I'm capable of it. So just really just trying to lock into it and, just really getting the confidence from my teammates. They really believe in me with the assignment, so I'm just trying to embrace it.
Stay on that same side in row 4 near the aisle. Go ahead.
For the 3 guys who were part of it last year, how is it possible? What enables you guys to be as hungry now as you were a year ago?
Let's start same order as before. Alex, then Tristan, then Donovan.
Yeah, we're just as hungry because we want to experience that feeling of winning again, but more importantly, we want to experience it with the new guys too, because they haven't felt what it feels like to win a national championship. So, I mean, just doing this journey again with the new guys is special, and that's what continues to get us going every day, and just continue to add the UConn's history of, possibly winning number 6 for the program is something special.
Yeah, I would agree. Like he said, we're trying to make history, and the feeling of winning is the best feeling that we could get as a team. And like he said, the new guys that are first years into the program, they haven't experienced what the national championship is like, and we want them to experience that feeling because it's an unbelievable feeling that you'll never forget, and we want to experience it with this group.
Yeah, I mean, they said most of it, but if you want to be great, if you want to, make it to the highest level, you want to keep, wanting success. You want to keep winning. Winning is the best feeling that you could, experience through the sport. And like they said, really just, with all these new guys, the young guys, just trying to have them be a part of history and, get them to, feel that championship feeling.
Coming back to this side of the room in row 4. Just raise your hand so the guys can see it. Go ahead.
Steph, this has been talked about before, 5-star coming in to a ready-made team. But what was your mentality? What allowed you to just fit in like that when a lot of 5-stars, they kind of want to make a name for themselves right away. They don't have the patience. But is that something in your personality? Was it the coach or the team that helped you embrace that?
I would say it's definitely my teammates. Just being around them since day one, you can kind of sense the culture. It's not really a selfish culture. So it really wasn't for me to come in and really think of my own stats or think of how well I played. It was just doing whatever I can to come in and help the team win. And I feel like everybody else had the same kind of approach. So I mean, if you stand out and try and be selfish, I mean you'll stand out for the wrong reason. So.
Do we have any? Come back here on row 2 on the aisle.
Cam, your brother Pat played his lone college basketball season at Northwestern. Have you had any conversations with him leading up to this game, and did he tell you where his allegiances lie for tomorrow's matchup?
Mm-hmm. I have talked to him. Yeah, we haven't talked too much about Northwestern, but obviously it's coming full circle to play them in the tournament. We were really appreciative of his 1 year at Northwestern, and I know he'll be watching from California, but yeah, I think he's rooting for UConn tomorrow.
We'll stay on the same side at the other end of row 2. Go ahead.
Noah Keaton, UConn Student Television. Steph, coming in as a freshman, can you just touch on the impact that coach has had on you, looking towards the next level and you starting?
It's had a big impact on my confidence, just, knowing that, he believes in me to make an impact for our team, and the assignments that he's asked me to, to play, and the role he's asked me to play. As a freshman, I feel like that's big time, and it gives you a lot of confidence going into games like this.
And we'll stay at that same end in row 3.
I'm Avery Becker, UCTV Sports. Cam, a lot of people have compared your fire during the game to your coach, Dan Hurley. Can you just talk about what kind of mentor he's been to you this year?
Yeah, he's been the best. We're very similar people, very like-minded. I think a lot of that was kind of how we were raised with older brothers and, dads who pushed us to be at our best. But I can't say enough great things about him. I'd go to war for him any day of the week, and I think we all would. We really just appreciate him as a coach.
Go to the other side of the room. We're on the aisle in row 5.
Herbert Delancey, BSTM. For the players, how great is it to have, the neighboring state of Connecticut, how great is it to have your fans come down here to New York and to Brooklyn to cheer on the Husky program?
Why don't we have Cam, then Alex, then Tristan answer that?
Yeah, I think it's huge. One of our goals was to be able to get the 1 seed and to be in Brooklyn, because we knew that would be a competitive advantage for us to have our fans be able to come to the neighboring state. And I think they've been great for us all year, and I think that's just a big advantage that we have in this tournament.
Yeah, like Cam said, it's a huge advantage for us, and we'll definitely need their support tomorrow, because we know Northwestern, they had a great crowd yesterday, and they had a great fan base as well. So it'll definitely be a huge advantage for us, and we look forward to hearing the UConn chants tomorrow.
Yeah, UConn Nation, they always travel well, and they give us a good boost of energy that we need to go out there and compete for the games that we play in. So it's a good advantage, and we're gonna need them tomorrow night.
Yeah, obviously excited to to advance and get a chance to play an outstanding Northwestern team. Great coach. And Chris, who I got as much respect for him as anyone in our profession. So excited to get in here tomorrow night. Maybe to have a great UConn, hopefully a big UConn crowd in here tomorrow night, but excited to advance and play.
We'll go on this side of the room in row 4, close to the aisle.
Hey, Dan.
What's up, Steve?
How did your father address complacency, and have you studied other great coaches and as to how they handled complacency?
Yeah, my dad obviously, he handled complacency with a constant intensity and a consistent intensity, and he modeled just a work ethic and a commitment of just pouring everything that he had of himself into his job or into his lifestyle and as a coach. And I think that's what you see from every coach, or at least the best ones, is that you could tell that they're emotionally, physically, mentally, they poured everything they have into their team, their preparation, rooting out any types of behaviors or habits that they believe could potentially undermine the success of an organization or the championship success of an organization. Oh yeah, I mean, I read. I'm constantly listening to podcasts and reading about great leaders. The Nick Sabans, the greatest coaches, the John Woodens, the Bill Parcells, Bill Belichick. Anything that I could read or listen to or go and visit and watch. Yes, I'm superstitious. I need my lucky hat. Good hustle, Chris.
We'll go to the other side of the room, row 4 on the end. Go ahead. Just raise your hand so Coach knows where you are.
Zach Brazilla, New York Post. What's up, Dan?
What's up, Zach?
Hassan was obviously a big recruit coming out of high school and didn't quite live up to the expectations at A&M. What did you guys see out of him that made you think he would be good for you, and what has he kind of meant to you this year?
I think we were torn. We had a lot of guards when he was coming out of high school, but we kind of felt like we might have been making a mistake by not recruiting him. And he ended. When he went in the portal, and we looked at the end of his sophomore year there, he had a great stretch in the NIT. So he played his best basketball late, and we just felt like, Big East guard-wise, he fit the mold. Junkyard dog defensively, a guy with a lot of guts and a lot of heart and a lot of swagger. And, it was a guy that, performed at a high level in grassroots throughout, so the pedigree was there. But I just think, it takes a special type of guy to play or coach at UConn because, there's pressure all the time. And so we knew we had a guy with the stomach for it.
Can we stay?
His role, can I follow up?
Yeah, no, I was telling him to.
His role is obviously expanded this year with Nagan. What has he meant to you guys this year, and what does it say about a guy who was such a big recruit that he's, able to, play that role?
Yeah, that was the biggest question mark about this team coming in. I think you could see what the starters look like. That wasn't too hard to project, but the unknown would be the depth part. And could we get to 8 deep, 9 deep with quality, to keep us bulletproof? And we wouldn't be where we are without how he's played for us, without Samson Johnson, the emergence of Jalen Stewart, and then what Solo Ball's done for us throughout the year. So just being able to go 8 or 9 deep with quality, you're able to survive a bad night from some of your better players because of that depth.
We'll stay on this side. We'll come on the aisle in row 2.
Hey, Coach, David Gold inside on you. Northwestern's missing its starting center, Matt Nicholson, playing a redshirt freshman, Luke Hunger, now starting his 5. Is there an added emphasis in your game plan tomorrow to get the ball down low to Donovan and use those size advantage to his matchup with the starting 5 out for the Wildcats?
Yeah, obviously that's something that in some way that you hope you can, you can take advantage of. They do a great job of scheming from a defensive standpoint. With their post traps, in the way that they rally to the ball in the paint. They're a tremendous help team. They're very, very physical. Chris is one of the best pure, tactical coaches in the game. Chris and his staff at both ends of the court. So, a lot of those things, we may both go into the game feeling like it's an advantage. Obviously, they're going to be prepared for us to try to go inside with the basketball.
We'll go to the other side of the room in row 3. Just raise your hand so Coach can see it. Go ahead.
Yeah, Ayush Agarwal, Jerry Northwestern. Coach, Northwestern has beaten the #1 team in Purdue in back-to-back seasons. What, if anything at all, have you taken from those games as you're preparing for the same team tomorrow?
Yeah, just the level, the level that Chris has got his program at, where they could beat the best teams in the country, at Northwestern, a program that I guess hadn't been to the NCAA tournament in an incredibly long time, and now, they're as dangerous an opponent as you could face at this point in the tournament because they've shown the ability to beat the high-end teams. With what they have on the perimeter, Boo Buie, one of the best guards in the country, All-American caliber player, would be an easy Big Ten Player of the Year if it wasn't for Zach Edey. Obviously, Langborg, who lit it up last March, and then his performance yesterday was tremendous. And then Barnheiser, is a tremendous player. They got 3 guys that can go for 20 plus, and you win in this tournament, with tremendous perimeter play.
We'll go to the other side. We're in row 4. Just go ahead. Yep.
Jamal Murphy, Bill Roden on Sports. About Tristan, and you've mentioned a bunch of times you can't believe how underrated he is. He's gotten some college basketball accolades. You don't see him on draft boards. I'm wondering why you think he's underrated, and also, do you think real NBA guys know when that time comes he'll have that career?
Bill Roden's the best. Tristan, I think that I think a lot of mock drafts right now. In particular, I think a lot of those are manipulated. A lot of those will change by the time we get closer to the draft, and then the actual draft is going to look different because there's obviously a lot of agents that are jockeying for their clients so that they don't lose clients right now because they're not showing up in the mock drafts. They put a lot of pressure on the folks that put those out there. The analytics people, I know, when you look at most efficient players in the country, I think Tristan ends up somewhere top 5 in a lot of things in terms of his impact. And I think these front offices a lot of it is analytics based. I think a lot of teams value him a lot more than these mock drafts do. He's a first-team All-American. He's a guy that obviously was up for Big East Player of the Year, didn't get it, or at least didn't get it from the coaches, got it from AP. But yeah, he's 6'5". He rebounds. He facilitates, play makes. He shoots NBA threes with pretty good efficiency, and he's a champion. I think he's going to play in the NBA for 12 to 15 years.
We'll stay on this side at the end, row 1.
Wayne Norman, UConn Sports Network. Dan, your bench was such a key factor in postseason last year. The last 3 games, Jalen Stewart has really emerged. Can you talk about what that means to your bench, how deep your bench has become, and the confidence that he's gotten in these last 3 games?
Yeah, that just getting to 8 deep, and and all 3 guys bringing quality, offensive impact, defensive impact. With Jalen, he brings 6'7", athleticism and length, multi-positional versatility. For him, he's come on late, and he's added to that kind of big wing 3-4 matchup problem spot, which is what everyone's looking for in the sport. He's a guy with obviously he's going to help us down the stretch here and big future.
Staying on this side, row 5 in the back.
Coach Mike Fitzpatrick from AP. You and your family have been, Connecticut residents now for a while. I know you're completely focused on what you're doing, but how much have you paid attention to what Yale has done, getting through the Ivy League and then their win yesterday, and just any fun stories, people back home paying attention to both, and even, I'm not asking to get ahead of yourself, but the prospect of you guys playing each other in the next round back in New England.
Yeah, that last part is something that hasn't registered. Me and James, been texting, since a couple weeks ago, and his win in the conference tournament there, incredible. His leadership, his coaching, he's one of the best out there, one of the most underrated coaches in the country, and just a total beast. And And it's just great. It's great for Connecticut. It's great for the state. You know, I know we say Storrs, Connecticut, is the basketball capital of the world, and we don't run from that. But, maybe just the state of Connecticut kind of feels like the basketball capital of the world. Maybe we add that, Storrs into New Haven. Maybe we stretch that a little bit right now.
We got a couple up here in the row 2.
Bradley Locker inside on you. Northwestern has not, or I should say, has lost only one game all year by double digits and came back down too late against FAU. Kind of what does it say about the caliber of the team to avoid late holes?
I mean, they play in the Big Ten, which is one of the best leagues, and it's a brutally physical league. And I just think it speaks to Chris and the class and the pedigree and the culture, and what he's built there is amazing. It's one of the best, program building jobs that we've seen in the last 10, 15 years in our sport. They got obviously tremendous talent, but they got the right type of talent, the right type of players. And it's just, I say this about Marquette, I say this about certain people that we get a chance to play. Like there's just no other feeling. Sometimes when you play against programs that they're a house of cards. It's just based on just having really good players and talent, but their whole program is a house of cards. You play against a Northwestern or a Marquette, in some ways you feel like it's a privilege when you take the court against a program that's got culture and it's got tremendous players and great coaching, because it's going to be an honorable matchup.
We'll stay in that same row.
Iggy Dowling inside in you. Coach, Northwestern.
All three of you guys?
All three of us, yeah.
Let's go, boys.
Thank you. Slow-paced team. Northwestern's a slow-paced team, doesn't turn the ball over a lot. The Big East is pretty unique because you guys play a bunch of teams at different speeds. I'm just wondering what you've learned from the slow-paced games in terms of how you run your motion offense and maintain that speed in the half court.
Yeah, I think we're pretty versatile. Obviously on stops and off turnovers, and Northwestern's hard to turn over. We feel like we could play any type of game. I don't know necessarily we prefer, just like a half court, exclusive half court battle, but we're comfortable in that type of game as well. We feel like we can, we're efficient enough offensively as the number one offense in the country that we could beat you in a possession game. We feel like bringing in a top 10 defense that we can guard people in the half court, and then we've excelled as a rebounding game, not at times yesterday and not versus St. John's at MSG. That was disappointing, but not that I'm still thinking about that. But, we feel like we're well-rounded enough that we can win a lot of different types of games.
We'll stay on row 4 on this side, and then we'll go to the other side for the next couple.
Coach Stefan Castle, you've talked about this before too, but just the 5-star comes in to a ready-made team. When you were recruiting him, did you know what you were getting in terms of mentality-wise, that he wasn't a diva, that he would be able to fit in, or is that something you had to cultivate?
No, I saw his Stacy and Quan, his parents. I saw them rip his multiple times. They're not. His parents aren't fans. They're parents. They hold him accountable, responsible, to have elite work ethic and being coachable, and not thinking that the world spins around him at 17, 18 years old. So, we knew what we were getting, and NBA teams, they salivate over him because obviously we're a balanced team, so he doesn't get to show everything that's in his bag. That's why NBA teams, from when the summer starts, they come and watch us practice, and they come and watch practices throughout the year where he gets a chance to showcase more of what he can do. So, game night, because he's on a team that's really high level, obviously he doesn't get a chance to show everything, but he's got the parents, man. And when you got great parents, it makes our job really, really easy.
We'll go to the other side in row 1, and then we'll go to the back.
Gavin Key from the London Day. Dan, you guys only lost one non-conference opponent in the last 2 seasons. Why have you been so successful in that situation?
I think our uniqueness, from an offensive standpoint, I think the lack of familiarity with with just the different aspects of what we do from an offensive standpoint, the inside, the outside, the movement, the ball screen game. I think we could come at you in a lot of different ways. So we're a tough preparation on short prep time. You know, and I think the biggest thing that makes you bulletproof in tournaments is, you know, if you play elite defense, if you play elite offense, if you're a really, really strong rebounding team, if you play really, really hard, if you share the ball, if you're not reliant on one or two players to carry you, you know, if you've got Kamani Young and Luke Murray that prepare these teams for opponents as good as most head coaches prepare their teams for opponents, you know, it puts you in a position, you know, where you're not too vulnerable.
We'll stay on that same side in the back, Roger.
Roger Rubin from Newsday. So,
What's up,
hey, Dan. So now that we know that you have a lucky hat, can you share with us some of the other things that the national champion coach is superstitious about?
I mean, you know about the draws, right? The draws, the underwear. You know, my wife's, you know, she was churning the hand washer last night, and then when I left this morning, they were hanging, and they looked droopy. But she had the hair dryer on hot, and she had a concoction set up to dry them. The socks got holes in them because I'm running the same socks. And then I got this, I've been running back with the same suit. See, because the reason why we lost to New Mexico State, throw out the COVID NCAA tournament, that whole thing, man, that Maryland loss. But the New Mexico State game, I got cute, and I tried to wear like a nice blazer and some really like nice shoes, and I didn't wear the same blue suits that I was wearing at Rhodey when we beat Creighton and played Oregon in that great game, and then beat Trae Young in Oklahoma, and then lost that Duke game. When I was having success in the tournament, I was just wearing that plain blue suit and that same dress shirt. I broke it back out last March, and that thing's at the dry cleaner. I'm gonna wear that until somebody takes me out.
We'll come stay here on the front row.
And shoes too, brutal shoes. The shoes are brutal. Wait till the brown shoes that would barely have a sole left.
Annie Costable from the Chicago Sun-Times, following up on this superstitious trend. When did all of this start? Have you always carried these superstitions with you through your career?
Through the coaching, I think. As a player, you don't even, you know, you just get out there and you just go hoop. But sometimes you're just in the back of the locker room by yourself a lot. Everyone else is out there, and it's just you and your thoughts, and you know, you're not going to turn the TV on, so now like your mind is racing. So a lot of kind of the superstition things, the M&Ms and, you know, the clothes, it's almost like you're putting on armor. It's almost like watching Rafa Nadal before he serves. You know, he goes through this like weird process of things that settles him before he serves the ball. It just kind of takes my mind off of, away from thinking about all the bad things that could happen over the course of the next couple hours.
We'll do one final question down here. Row 2 on the aisle, inside NU.
Coach David Gold, inside NU. Coach Collins talked about knowing you and your whole family since he was around 18. Was there a moment for you when you knew that Coach Collins was going to take the Wildcats and make it into a program that could reach back-to-back NCAA tournaments?
I mean, he played like a coach, and anyone that maxes out the playing career the way Chris did, and then, you know, we obviously have the fathers in common. I don't think that there's a coach that I probably can relate to more in our game than Chris. Especially, you know, the way our two dads coached. I mean, our two dads poured every part of themselves and coached with such incredible emotion, passion, intensity. You know, watching his dad at games get so emotional, and knowing how my dad feels at my games, I just think that there's probably not a coach besides my brother that I could relate to in our profession than Chris. And I think we're so similar in so many ways. It's feels like you're kind of looking in the mirror.
Just to follow up on that, you mentioned maxing out his playing career. Were you a fan of Chris Collins' Finnish basketball career?
His what? Finnish?
His Finnish basketball career.
I didn't know about that. I thought like Duke when he got I was talking about when he got to the Final Four. My brother dragged me out there to see Duke. I don't want the UConn fans hearing me talking good about Duke, but yeah. I mean, I was a fan. I was in Charlotte when he was in the Final Four playing Arkansas on those teams. So, always been a fan of Chris. And then Chris recruited my players at St. Benedict's when I was a high school coach. So, I'm really happy for his success. He's one of the great guys in our business.